Just go through. So welcome to another Sunday Market Blitz, about 8 p.m., January 16th. I think this is the third Sunday Market Blitz of the year so far. So this year, again, is already moving, right? We're already halfway through January, which seems pretty crazy. But what we're going to go through is Nick's going to start off. He's going to run through all his analysis. We just posted everything up in Telegram and inside Discord. So all the analysis is up. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen for a second here. So for you new people, you should be able to see this is the Telegram. So we've got all of our analysis posted up. Nick posted his earlier today. As you can see, DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. So he's gonna run through those. I just posted mine up, GU, NU, UCAD, and GJ. So I'm gonna run through these. Nick's gonna run through his, and then if you guys have questions, you can go through. And at the end, I'll probably cover a couple more pairs, BTC, and Stellar. So I'll cover some crypto. But yeah, so if you guys have questions during the session, just post up inside of the chat. When we get a second, we'll go ahead and answer it for you.
So yeah, awesome. So yeah, let's just kick it off. Let's see what this week's got in store for us. Things are looking a little bit better. We came into the new year pretty choppy, some weird movement, some crazy volume, but things are starting to look a little more clear. Okay, so we always start off with DXY, and pretty much what we're going to do is start on the higher time frame, grab the overall trend, drop to the 4-hour, and go over what the potential for price action could be for the week ahead. I find that the 4-hour highlights that best. But the potential movement. So, we're going to drop down and then map out two scenarios, both bullish and both bearish. Okay, so right here on the daily, we can see that price action here has been generally moving upward, right? Higher highs, higher lows, characteristics of an uptrend. So it's definitely bullish. I do have a structure point marked here at 94.5, right? So this needs to break for us to really be full bearish here on this time frame. But it is falling a little bit. Overall, still pretty much holding structure. So let's take a closer look on the 4-hour. See what DXY is doing. Again, we don't actually trade DXY. We use this more as an indicator for potential USD movement, for the week, because the dollar makes up for 80% of all trade, and it really influences a lot of the major pairs. So you really want to be on top of what the dollar's doing or what could potentially be happening. We want to know if it's moving heavily in one direction, if it's consolidating like we just saw, a lot of ranging, not much movement. That definitely affects the rest of the market. So it's good to be aware of that. Okay, and you can apply the analysis the same way on this chart as any other, pair, and it'll work generally the same. We're just not actually taking trades on the dollar, right? Okay, so what's the big thing that happened recently? We broke the range in a bearish way. It's pushing lower. Good amount of volume. We didn't quite touch the structure point. Pretty close, but it's pulling back now. Still looking pretty bearish here on this time frame, right? So at this point, the most likely thing, the closest thing to happening is that we're going to see a lower high. Probably run into some sort of rejection, some sort of traffic in this area, closer to 95.8. So we're going to see how that plays out. Ideally, we'll curve out here, get that lower high, and then push back towards the downside. And then we'll look for reactions at this level, come up with two new, trade paths, trade scenarios, and then play it forward that way. Okay, so this is the most likely. Okay, we're going to run into some rejection here, see how it plays out. If we do break back into the range, this is the first step to considering US dollar bullish, right? So we want to see some higher lows. We're back in the range. If it then breaks higher, we'll again apply a different analysis, look for higher lows above that, and then we'll, look to, target resistance points. But for right now, this is where price action is. These are the two most likely scenarios, the safest scenarios. So we're going to see how it plays out. Right now, we're on the pullback, slightly bullish. So we're going to see. Okay, so that's DXY. Let's move over to our first tradable pair, AU, and we're going to do the same, apply the same methodology. Jump to the higher time frame. What's the overall trend? We've been moving downward generally. If you just look at the chart, lower lows, lower highs. Nice bit of bullish volume here, but overall still moving downward. So very bearish. Okay, and we're seeing a bit of a pullback now. So let's drop to the 4-hour. See where we're at. Okay. So generally moving bullish here on the 4-hour. The most likely thing is that it's going to continue with this channel. So we're looking for higher lows here. This is where we're looking for some sort of reaction around 0.72. Actually, I have it marked. 1 second. Let me just square this up so you guys can see the numbers. There we go. All right. So we're looking for higher lows pretty much right here. There's a nice little pocket of confluence, right? Supporting trend line, 0.72 support. This would be a nice area where we could spot some, bullish momentum, enter on that, and then have plenty of room to target. This would be a pretty nice trade, to be honest. Let's take a look at what this would look like if we size it up. Okay, again, generally, depending on where that execution is and where this higher low actually forms, it's going to pretty much determine your stop loss. But already right here below 0.72, we're looking at over a 2.5 to 1. So pretty good risk there. Definitely would be interested in taking this trade if this momentum or if this volume continues, but we also get that rejection and then sends price action back to the upside. That would be really nice with the trend. Nice resistance level. That would be good. But what's the opposite? Let's say this keeps falling, cuts right through this level, breaks lower like this. We want to see a nice break into this new area here and then a pullback for that first lower high. Then I'd be pretty comfortable, targeting lower, taking some sort of maybe short-term position, reanalyzing on the higher time frame, see what the possibility is. But generally, this is what it would look like. Just about a 2 to 1. So this one again would depend on where this lower high actually forms. But just to play it safe, we're pretty much at a 2 to 1 beyond this zone here, 0.72. So pretty good for this week on AU. We'll see how this plays out. It's all about this key zone here, right? We're looking for reactions at 0.72 or not. And then we're gonna, adjust our approach if we do break that level. So let's just double check on the daily, zoom in, right? Very likely that we're going to continue higher as well. Nice target, not much resistance through this zone. So pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so let's jump over to AJ. Same thing, jump to the daily time frame, get the overall trend. This one's a little trickier. You can see that this has been, over here. Let's start on the left, right? We were consolidating, nice range here between these two zones. We finally broke. This was very clear that it was bearish. We established another range, high volume range between these two zones, 815 and 79. And then we got this huge spike of volume, right? To the upside. It just hit resistance at 85, didn't really form any structure, didn't continue bullish, came right back down, played within the range, and then it broke above 81.5 once again. So now we're pretty much bullish, looking for this zone to be tested and then see how it's going to react. But this break here was essentially the first step going bullish. We just need to see that structure forming higher low. So very, very likely that we're going to keep falling into this level, but let's get a closer look on the 4 hour. See what's going on here. So we have been running into some resistance here around the weekly. Price action's reacting quite a bit. Final attempt here from the bulls. Nice double top. Price action comes back down and keeps testing resistance. Right? While we're making attempts at this level, 83.25, we're also forming lower lows. So it's giving us a bit of a bearish channel here. So it makes it really easy for us to spot what we need to see to then enter in a trade. If this is going to push down, we know the potential is to 81.5 here. So just look for lower highs. This is a nice pocket of confluence right at this resistance level, trend line up well with this channel. So ideally, this is what we want to see. Some sort of pullback, price action to curve out, reject in this area, throw some wicks, and then give us some good price action to enter short on. So let's see what this would look like. Okay, over 3 to 1. Really nice, really nice one here. So if it does come up to here, just be patient, wait for the right price action. And then you can, pretty much get anything from 2 to 1, even if you're getting a little bit late down here. If you're really conservative, at least 2 to 1, potential for 3 to 1. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. So good trade there. If it does go,
this one looks really good.
Right? Pretty clean. And, we know the potential, because we grabbed that from the higher time frame guys, right? So this would also be really nice for further trades. We could either make a play once this one plays out, or we'll look for a break. That's a further analysis. But yeah, looking pretty good here. If it does go bullish, let's say we see no reaction in our weekly, it breaks right through. We just need to see a higher low. Nice price action, enter on some good bullish setups, and then target higher. We do have some higher resistance levels just above at 85, so that would make sense as well. Okay, I like the volume though. That's the most important thing. I think, here on AJ, is that we're just getting really nice volume. It's giving us enough room to get some good trades, some good risk reward, gives us more options to manage the trade once we're in it as well. So this is looking really nice. AJ is high on the list for this week. Okay, let's move over to UJ. Kind of sorry to follow up with UJ. You know, this is a terrible, in my opinion, the way this has been going. It's just not really clear price action whatsoever. Okay, but we can start with the same methodology. We're on the daily time frame here. Overall bullish, right? We saw a ton of consolidation here. Okay, this is like some sort of giant pattern. It was like an ascending triangle from a few weeks ago, or a few months ago rather. And now we're up in this new area. So once we broke above the monthly, we've just been seeing a lot of chop, a lot of high volume attempts to push higher. Price actually comes crashing back down. It just hangs around this monthly area. This is looking like the same thing that we saw here, just a little more dramatic, a little more volume. So again, price action is not that clear, but it is overall bullish. Let's see if we can get more information on the 4-hour. Honestly, I just have not been liking how UJ's been forming price action the last few months, to be honest, because we had this huge area of consolidation here. This was a giant range, a lot of traffic, minor zones within all of this. And we're pretty much back within here now. So price action had an attempt, didn't form structure at all. When it did finally reverse, this was the 38.2, this blue zone I had marked. It honestly just crashed right through that, right back to the range. And now we're seeing bullish volume, some lower time frame breaks right there. But honestly, this really isn't that clear. So before market open, this candle's new. So right before market open, it was very likely that we were just going to continue to range. So we had this trade path pushing price action lower, and I was expecting something like this, more consolidation, more chop. But instead, we're seeing a bit of bullish momentum right now, stepping into the market. If we do see some higher lows, that would be something to consider. Again, I don't have that much confidence in this because usually after some big swings, you almost want to see some consolidation. You're almost like begging for a pattern to form, just so you can get something that's like normal feeling. When you get these huge swings and these just dramatic like movements, there's really not much to work with. Let's say we do get a higher low here. We'll see how it forms. It depends how much time, honestly. If it's a quick retest, not going to recommend entering on that, but we'll see. We'll see if this zone holds here at 114, 1.5. But yeah, for right now, it's not looking too great. That's UJ. So let's move over to EJ. This one's looking pretty good. Let's go to the daily time frame first. So this one's interesting. Similar, what was it? Similar to AJ, I believe. Yeah, similar to AJ, where it was very bearish. Okay, we had some time of consolidation, then we had these huge bullish attempts. No structure really. Once it reversed, it came crashing back down, back into these zones. But now, really, the key zone was 130. So now we're above that. And now we're looking to form, our first real higher low on this time frame. So we're really undecided if this is bullish yet, but it depends really how we react here. It's looking good, it's showing us all the right signs so far. But we got to see how it confirms on the 4-hour. Right now, we're looking more bullish though. Okay, so let's see what the 4-hour is showing us. Just square this up. Bring this all into view here. Okay. So again, 130 is our key zone, right? We're just above that. It looks like price action's bouncing quite a bit. Seeing a lot of resistance at this zone here, 130, 135. And then of course, 130, a lot of rejection on both sides. So it's looking like a bit of a range. Now, this also is the first time we're seeing structure right here, 38.2. So this is a good sign. We could see a ton of volume come off this area right now, start pushing to the upside. Now you could take some long opportunities into resistance here, but really the real structure forming continuation is going to be here. Once we see this higher low above 130, 135, some nice bullish setups. That'd be a nice, trade into our weekly zone. So really hoping just that this momentum continues, but if it does turn around, start pushing lower, let's say we get a lower high right here, we break 130, need to see the lower high below to then enter short and target lower. Let's just size this up. Okay, this one actually makes sense. Good risk reward on this one. 2 to 5, 2.5 to 1. And then you have a pretty safe stop loss just above 130. So either way it goes, you know, we're pretty ready. Whoops. All right, so that's EJ. Let's jump over to gold. Daily time frame to start. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so this one's been overall pretty bearish for a while. We have been consolidating. Again, this is kind of the danger zone, right? Between 1825, 1800. Every time we've seen price action enter this area, it's ranged for quite a while. Okay, again, this is the daily time frame. You know, so this is a good amount of time. We got July to the mid-August. Then again, over here, this one was a little shorter. A lot of consolidation there. And then we're seeing the same thing happen now. Okay, so really the only option is to play the range, but we're going to drop to that on the 4-hour. Overall, it is technically bearish, but we know really it's going to be a while before we see that continue. So really all we have is the 4-hour to work with. Let's zoom in a little bit here. And this is that range, right? Here's the weekly 1825, 1800 support, this whole zone. And lately we've been seeing a lot of reaction at 1785. We've actually kind of extended this range a little bit. We've been seeing a lot of support down here, a bunch of rejection here, here, here. So there's actually been decent opportunity trading the range. This was a good opportunity that we had marked up from last week. There's a nice clear break right there that led to a nice long opportunity. Great risk reward, targeted 1825, and then we've seen a bit of a double top forming now. It's a nice bearish momentum stepping in. This would really be the opportunity to catch some sort of rejection and enter short. Let's just size this one up. Okay, target back down, dip back down towards 1785. And it's just over 2.5 to 1. Pretty safe stop loss too. But you know, that's really all we have on gold. It's just ranging for now. It's going to take a while for this to break out. You know, we do have the bullish scenario. If it does somehow break above 1825, looking for higher lows to confirm that, and then you can start targeting towards higher resistance levels. But for right now, yeah, all we have is this range. Luckily, it's, you know, wide enough. You could actually get some good plays here. But yeah, that's gold. So these are, you know, all live charts. They're active charts. As Angelo said, you know, they're posted in Telegram, Discord. You guys can open these up, see how they're progressing, see how either of these trade paths are kind of playing out. Compare that to your own analysis. But yeah, they're, you know, they're active all week. So quick recap: I covered DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. Look at this one. This is really taking off. Yeah, because the dollar's pulling back.
EJ.
Yeah. Well, no, UJ pushing
UJ.
up.
Oof. Dude, UJ just sucks sometimes.
It does. It's just, it's so dramatic because whatever it does, it's very influenced by DXY, right? Obviously. So whatever this does, it's super dramatized on UJ. Like, this is such a huge swing. And now it's just pulling back on DXY. So you're seeing that here. Look at this thing. The candle, you're seeing it flicker here on the 4-hour. It's nuts. But yes, you know, that's the power of the dollar, guys. You know, once this thing starts moving, and even on a pullback, it starts moving the whole market. All right, but let's see chat here. That's pretty much it for me. I'll pass it off to Angelo.
All right, we're
some water. Jeez.
This guy's parched. Are you you're done with the COVID now or what?
Yeah, I got like some lasting symptoms, but nothing really. I don't have my taste back or smell still.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I never had happen, luckily. Can you guys hear me? I think we might have lost Nick there. All right. I'm gonna just get into it. Can you guys see my screen? I got trading view up.
Yeah, there you go. You're good.
All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna get started with, we'll go to DXY again. We'll take a look at this. Why not? So this was last week's analysis on DXY. Let's just bump up to the weekly time frame. We're all the way at, for everyone that's been on these calls before, they know with my analysis, I'm always looking on the weekly time frame first. And I'm pretty much just looking where are these two main areas where we have either resistance or support, right? So we have this upper level, we have resistance here, we have support all in this area, support, support, support. And then more previously, we've started acting as resistance in this zone. So if we can just identify what the key level is, then we can start to build out some sort of trade idea for really any pair. So this is the key level right around 96,500, 96 flat, 96.3. So we saw over the course of the last 10 weeks or so, however many candles this is, we had a doji, a doji, a doji, then we spiked up, we immediately rejected down, and then we started to move to the downside. So the sellers kicked in, found this as resistance. So with that in mind, last week, we were simply just looking for this whole trend to continue. We had this little upward channel, which was very weak. We broke out of this channel last week. Let's see, actually, when we broke out of this, we broke out of this 2 weeks ago. And then last week, we just had a continuation. So we finally broke this floor right here, the support level. I'm going to go ahead and just clean this up. We're going to take this off. So like exactly like Nick had marked up, pretty much this is the support level right here. I'm just going to go ahead and I like to just mark that as a zone. So this right here is pretty much the support level that we want to look for a retest in. So let's keep this in mind. You know, most likely DXY is going to push up into the resistance, into this level, and then it's going to find some resistance here. It's either going to break to the downside, retest, and go short, or it's going to continue this little bullish trend. It's going to break above the resistance, and then we're going to see it push up into this high point right here. So with this idea in mind, because this is more likely right now, this coming into the resistance, rejecting it, going back to the downside. Let's take a look at some pairs and see how that lines up. So short term, bullish on the dollar, long term, bearish on the dollar. So let's keep that in mind and let's take a look at NU and see how that lines up just overall with our trade ideas. So I'm just going to take this off for now. We're going to start on the weekly, and we're just going to build out an idea very similar to DXY. Start up on the weekly time frame. We could zoom out, and I have my key level marks right here. This like 68. 700, 68, 500 area. And if we look left, we can see we've got all resistance, support, resistance, all in this area, support, all in this area. So this is a key level that price has rejected with significance, right? It's not minor rejection. We have wicks coming down here. We have price moving off of this area dramatically. So this is definitely a key level that we want to monitor. And then to the downside, we have the same thing. We have a bunch of resistance all in this area. We have support, resistance, 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 and then we have support. So we are in between these two levels right now, bouncing between these zones. And then we have more immediate price action where we pushed lower, and then we actually just broke above some resistance right here. And then we have a reversal candle. So this thing could come back up and start to do one of these and break above our resistance, but we're just going to monitor this once it gets back up into the zone. So let's come down to the 4-hour time frame. With that in mind, let's take this off. Look on the 4-hour. So 4-hour, we're actually forming some bearish structure. So we had this low, this lower high, and then all of a sudden we had this consolidation, and then price just boom, broke the consolidation and made a new high point. So for those that are inside of the course, inside of the program, you always know when we break a point of structure, we're always looking for the first high or low when we're breaking from a downtrend into an uptrend. Obviously, this is all very situational. This is all relative to where is our key levels, everything like that. But let's try to simplify it just based on those principles that we go over in the course. This is where we'd be looking for the first high or low. Right in this area, right here, this is where we would actually be looking for a high or low point in this zone. This is the previous high. If we also bring on the fibs, right here, we could also see we're right around the 70, 78, 75. These aren't the greatest levels. 61.8 and 38.2 is ideally where we see that reversal, but it still has potential to reverse off this zone. Now, keeping this in mind, let's go back. DXY, remember, we're anticipating this to be bullish short term and then bearish long term. And if that does apply to NU, that would mean NU would be bearish short term. The dollar would gain some strength against New Zealand dollar, And then long term, we'd move back up into the zone. Whatever happens in the zone, we don't know. We could reject and come back down. We could do the opposite, like we mapped out on the weekly time frame. We could break and then end up shooting to the upside. So we really don't know what's going to happen once we come back into this zone. But this is a decent trade idea. This is a decent idea. We've got some support here. This has also acted as support and resistance before. We could put our stops all the way below this area. Again, we could target this previous high right here. If we want to target a bit lower, we'd have to move our stops up a little bit more to get that risk reward. We'd have to move them up right around at least to here. So we have like a 2-to-1. But this is the idea. This goes along with DXY. You know, this is a decent trade idea. I'm going to go ahead and just mark this with the zone. So now we've got our little zone there. So if price comes down into this area and on a lower time frame, we start to see this. Boom. Consolidation, little break, and then go to the upside. That's really what we're looking for. We're looking to see some rejection. So we're not trying to just short this thing right away or long it right away. We are trying to see some rejection in this area, at least like a wick. And remember, we are on the 4-hour time frame. So it's going to take a little while for this to play out. But that's my idea on New Zealand dollar. Let's go over next. Let's look at GU. So this was GU's analysis last week, and this is lining up perfectly with our DXY idea as well. So last week, this was definitely the best trade that I put together last week. Had a couple of trades that hit stops, but this one definitely made up for it. We got to 2-to-1 on this trade. So going into last week, we're expecting a retest of the trend line, retested it perfectly. We had multiple areas where we could have entered. On this one, we had this combination right here. We had this bearish candle. The spinning top was a reversal candle, then a bullish candle. And then also, if we did get in late, you could just got in on this bullish engulfing all the way in the 4-hour. But coming down to where we are now, pretty much I'm looking for this. We made a new high, right? We're not trying to buy it at a high point. We're trying to buy another higher low. We have our trend line. We have the previous high point. This is a great area to look for an entry right down there. And if we were to bring on our fibs as well, we could see this is right in that 61.8 area. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to mark this down and actually move this a little bit lower. We're going to get rid of this. So this is what we're looking for this week. We're looking for price to come down and then push up. And this goes again right in line with DXY. DXY, we're looking for the dollar short term to be very bullish. So GU would push down, British pound would lose strength against the dollar. And then if the dollar then rejects that level, we could see GU come back up. And coming back up to the weekly, remember on the weekly time frame, we have this very strong resistance up here at 138. So I am looking for price to come back up here and retest this zone. We have a lot of bullish price action here. So it's just trending very bullish on the lower time frame. And there's really no reason to think that it's going to reverse yet because we haven't hit a key level. So that's my GU idea. Next, let's go over to UCAD. Let's get rid of this. See if we got some questions. Okay, yeah. So if you guys have any questions during the session, feel free, post in the chat. We'll cover them. Let's go over to UCAD. So literally everything is lining up right now with DXY, which is cool to see. I don't necessarily love that because I do like having some diversity in the analysis. We'll see with GJ if we get a different idea, but GJ is normally very much the same as GU. So let's start on the weekly time frame. So UCAD on the weekly, we've got this level all the way up here. Now this level is not really relevant right now. We don't have any use for it. We're so far away from this area. We're really 350 pips away from that upper level. So let's just focus. Why is this level marked right here? You know, why is this level here? Get rid of this. So why is this level marked down here? I looked left. We had support. I don't know how far left I looked. So yeah, we have resistance here. I didn't even mark it that far back. We have support right there. Just that alone makes me think that this is an important level. And then price, you can see, has danced around this area so many times. Support, support, resistance, resistance, acted as support. We had some support. So this is just a level that has been respected, rejected so many times. So when it comes into this zone, we are looking for some sort of reaction. So coming down to the 4-hour time frame, I'm just going to bounce from the weekly to the 4-hour. 4-hour is trending very bearish, right? We just literally look at the overall trends. This thing was bullish. And then what happened? We came down, we tried to find some support, and then we just broke, came up, broke. And now this is where we're currently at. We marked this down last week. So last week we were anticipating this whole move, and we're finally near where we could potentially take an entry. And I just want to go take this off for people that are confused, like what are we going over? What's going on? Let's just clear up what this whole thing is right here. So we're just going to come down here. Remember, when we're in an uptrend, we're making these highs, these higher lows, these highs, these higher lows. And then what happens, right? If this breaks this support level, this breaks this higher low, the first thing we're looking for is where's that first lower high? We're looking for a retest. Ideally, this is where we're trying to enter, right at this first lower high. And then we're trying to enter at subsequent lower highs. So this right here, this is the higher low that was broken. This is the entry for a downtrend, always in this area. Same thing down here. So let's just look at actual price action, right? This is the actual chart now up here. We had this higher low. What happened? Price came to the higher low, did not find support, ended up breaking. Then we had this first area. This is the potential area for entry in this first lower highs. We had potential area number 1, potential area number 2. And then what happened? Price broke down again. We broke support. We had another retest. This could have been another lower high that we got in on. And if we just fib this whole entire thing, we can even see we had 38.2 here, then we came up. This is not exactly a fib level, but still we did retest the support, turn into resistance. And then now we're looking for, this is the next leg in this downtrend. So now we're just simply looking for the retest in this zone. And then we're going to short based on the retest. So let's go ahead and bring the candlesticks back on. Let's take some of this off so we don't confuse ourselves. Boom. So we are just quite simply, we are looking for a retest of the support level right here. And once we get that, we're going to look to short. There's a lot of reasons to short this. Look previously, we have, even on the 4-hour, support moved all the way up. Same thing here, wick this, moved up, wick this, moved up, less significant here, but still found some support there. Resistance, wick this, moved down, right? Even here, we had a break, retest, moved up. So this is definitely a significant area. So let's line this up with the dollar. This is the same exact thing as the dollar. This is almost funny at this point. We have the dollar short term is bullish, long term is bearish. That would line up with this exact move. We can go as far as saying, this is not, you know, what really doesn't really mean anything, but if this thing moves up 0.5%, let's go ahead and look at the dollar. If the dollar moves up about 0.3%, right, that's what we're looking for, the dollar to move up right around in that area. And then we're looking for that rejection. So it's lined up. It's lined up similar to the dollar right now. We'll see, right, how it reacts once it gets to the zone. The dollar could fool everyone and just be super bullish and just go right up into this upper zone, this 96.3. Yep. And that would invalidate a lot of these trades. And that's completely fine because we just wouldn't take a trade at that point.
Right. Yeah, it would flip the bias on quite a few pairs. But that's a good point Angelo made earlier in the call too, is that it's not necessarily a good thing that a lot of these pairs are now being super correlated because the dollar is moving so much. You know, not a good thing if you are going to trade and you're seeing a lot of similarities and a lot of, you know, similar correlation. Just be picky with what you're choosing. and choose like the best setups according to your strategy or whatever, whatever you look for.
Yeah, because a lot of times when it's lined up like that, the dollar will just pull a rabbit out of its hat and just do the
Right.
fucking opposite.
Fake everybody. Because when you expect something, then it doesn't happen.
So someone said, what's some major news coming up this week? I mean, you could see on each pair, we've got some significant news coming up. We've got the CPI coming up this week, consumer price index, which is always pretty significant. This is less significant right
And
here.
tomorrow's also
I'm gonna go ahead
US
and
holiday.
show future. Yeah, I think you can't show just the red ones, but we've got this building permits. This one, there'll be some movement. And then later in the week, it looks like we've got existing home sales. So there's some news events definitely this week. Those were mainly US dollar events too. Those weren't Canadian events. This one was Canadian, the CPI. But at the same time, there are some US events that are going to affect all these pairs. So with this in mind, let's go over to our last one, GJ. GJ is, okay, this is good. GJ is the opposite idea of GU, which is actually solid. So GJ is not, I'm not correlating it with GU, which means if we're monitoring both these pairs, we can most likely get one win this week. Just from looking at GU and GJ alone, we are set up to get a win this week. And I'll tell you why. So GJ, we just hop up to the weekly time frame. Last week, we were anticipating a rejection of the zone. Same thing as all these other freaking pairs. We're marking our key level down. We've got resistance, support, and then here we've got support, we've got resistance, and then we've got resistance. And then we just came into this level last week. Let's zoom in on this. Let's just take all this off for a second. So how did last week's candle form? This tells you the story of everything. We came up, formed this like spinning top candle, two spinning top candles. These are reversal candles. It's at the resistance. We don't really need to see anything more. That's enough for us to be confident that there's going to be some sort of reversal. Let's go ahead and bring this stuff back on. Let's go to the 4 hour. Now look at the 4 hour. We had a very bullish trend. Boom. Right into this upper level. We hit resistance. And then what happened? All of a sudden we hit resistance, pushed down, came up, rejected it, pushed down, came up, rejected it. Let's take this off. And then ultimately we broke this support level. And we did, like we just went over, we did one of these. We were in an uptrend. We could either mark this as the higher low, or we can mark this as the higher low. It doesn't even matter at this point. And then we broke the higher low, first lower high, subsequent lower low, next lower high, so on and so on. So that's what I have marked up right here. We have this little break of support. This is now a potential lower high. This is the exact area that we want to be entering trades, honestly. Exact area we want to be entering trades right now. We want to wait for some sort of rejection, right? We don't want to just short this. It's very bullish coming into the level right now. But this is exactly what we want to see. Nice lower high area. This is a previous support. This is previous lower low, right? Previous low. So yeah, this is a perfect trade idea. We're at the key level as well, so we can throw stops all the way up here above all this noise. So if you want to hop in a trade for the week, wait for this thing to close, wait for another candle, a bearish candle to form, hop in on GJ. And if you're in on GJ and all of a sudden, right, if you're in on GJ and then all of a sudden like this happens, right? We push down a little bit, we come into some profit, and then all of a sudden it's like, we start to come up, we break the resistance, and the opposite happens, right? This thing reverses and starts to move completely to the upside. That's when we're going to come over here, look at GU, and we're going to be like, all right, what the hell is going on with GU, right? Short term, that would have meant GU pushed down, and now GU is getting ready for that move up. And we can switch, we can hop out of GJ, we can hop into GU, and then look for that long-term long on GU. So that's kind of how to utilize when you have two pairs that are normally very correlated, but then just show you different ideas just according to market structure and the levels that we're looking at. Very simple. I'm not using much, literally just using price action, support and resistance, I'm subconsciously using supply and demand. I'm not marking it on here, but if you guys like go through the course, you'll see we do use supply and demand. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've got GJ first higher low is quite confusing. Yeah, with this, I don't know if you meant lower high or higher low, but this right here would technically be like a little bit of a higher low that broke. Then you have all this noise right here where it starts to consolidate, right? I think you're maybe saying this first lower high is quite confusing, but just think of the resistance level, this key level here. This tells you all you need to know. This bearish engulfing at the key level, like that's a major rejection of this area. And then it's followed up by the same thing. We have another major rejection. And it's like, as soon as this follow-up candle closes, pushes even lower, it's like, okay, seller stepped in. We rejected this 3 times already. I'm trying to get into selling opportunities at this point now. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to go over it for the Forex. I'm just going to clear this off. So this is the idea for GJ. We've got the other ideas. They're all posted in Telegram like we showed earlier. So you guys can come on, see how this plays out for the week. Like Nick was saying, you could hit the play button and see exactly how the analysis plays out. We post these every single week. So you guys can go back, use this against your own analysis so you can see what's going on and just get a different perspective. Last but not least, we're going to go over BTC. So we're going to come up to the weekly time frame. I mentioned this last week. We are not buying BTC until we get a closure of a 10% correction right here. We actually had, let's see what this one was. This was about 8%. We're waiting for a significant candle to close, a morning star, some sort of bullish thing. We're waiting for it to at least be 10% from the bottom here. This is a little over 10%. So I am, bullish on BTC long term. Short term, this has been very bearish. It's literally 40% off from the highs, right? Which is crazy, but if it breaks this, it's gonna keep going down. Like it's gonna probably hit 30K if it breaks this fucking level right here.
And that's called a sale, a big time sale. It's very unlikely because if let's say we do bottom out at 30 and then we go to new highs, it's very likely that we'll come back to 30.
Yeah, it's very likely that we're gonna hit 30. So we'll see what happens with BTC. Again, I'm waiting for a significant break on the 4-hour. None of this bullshit right here. We needed to move up significantly before we try to get in on some buys. So yeah, just staying super patient with BTC. Nothing crazy on this one. We're gonna stay away. Or actually, no. Let's actually hit Stellar and see what's good with this. This was a few weeks back, so let's clear this up and see what's up. So it's same thing on these crypto pairs. We're looking at where's the key level here. On Stellar, we've got resistance all on this 28 cents area. We've been monitoring this for several sessions for a long time. We had support here, and then now we're just kind of like fucking around in this area, not showing anything I like to see, right? We had a bullish engulfing, then we had an evening star. Now we have a doji, right? So it's not, this is why I have not been looking at this pair recently. It's just still bearish, right? It's still pretty bearish overall. We need this thing to break and have a significant reversal at this point. The reason I'm saying it's this bearish is just we pushed down and now we just confirmed below the 28 cent level. So this is ultimately what I'm anticipating at the moment. We're not considering anything bullish until we get back above 28 cents. And then at that point, we can reassess. So that's Stellar. That's pretty much it. Again, for all the analysis this week. Tomorrow, we are going to be hopping on and we're going to be doing a community webinar at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to hop on, chat with us a little bit about Forex League, some updates with the course, the signals, the trade copier, the funding, everything like that. We're going to cover it tomorrow in this session. And just as a reminder, we are doing the free trial right now for the rapid signal. So I'm going to go ahead and share my Telegram one more time. So we're doing a free trial for the rapid signals. We've already got over 200 people on the trial. If you want to get in, all you got to do is come into the Telegram. I'll repost it, but you can scroll up. We've got this little link to the bot right here. There is no credit card required for the free trial. Some people were asking if there was a credit card required, but no credit card is required. It does, for whatever reason, say when you're checking out, it says like credit card. I don't know why it says that, but if you click on there, then you don't have to actually submit anything. So that's the update for Rapid Signals. And then Funded Trader, we just hit 1 million in Funded Trader payouts. So we officially paid out $1 million to people who've had funded accounts, which is obviously pretty crazy. So
Yeah,
there'll be an update. Like, that's nuts. So at some point, there'll be an update with this as well, another community webinar. There's going to be a YouTube video dropping, stuff like that. But just make sure you're in the Discord for that one. There is a giveaway going on right now, this one. So I'm going to post just an update on this. So if you guys want to get in on the giveaway, make sure you follow the instructions here. Follow us on Twitter, join the Discord, follow us on Clubhouse, and you guys could potentially win 100K challenge. So that's pretty much it for the Sunday Market Blitz.
Yeah. And as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. You know, we're here if you guys need us.
Yes, sir.
You guys know all the links, right? Discord, Telegram, IG.
Fucking every link you guys can imagine.
Everything. But yeah, guys, thanks for sticking around. And yeah, good luck to you guys in the giveaway.
Yeah, good luck in the giveaway. Good luck. Good luck this week, you know, with the analysis. Bunch of ideas out there. Try to take advantage of them, you know, as much as you guys can. And yeah, like Nick said, hope you guys have a good week.
Peace, guys.
Peace out, everybody.